Welcome back to GB Guns. It's time for year end. Thank God, right? 2020 is coming to an end. Tia's here, wanted to look at our top 5 pistols of 2020. Now, these aren't guns that necessarily came out in 2020, but they are guns we reviewed. And there were a lot to go through. We think we found 5. We're going to explain what they are and how they made our list. Coming up next on GB Guns. So, in no particular order, first up is
the Mossberg MC2C.
MC2C. This, for me, was just a really pleasant shooter.
And it was for me too. Obviously we haven't been to the range in a long time, but looking at it, I remember some of my favorite things about it. In reviewing the videos, I remember how much I enjoyed shooting this gun because of how controllable it was and how pleasant the recoil was, the reset. It was really nice for me in my smaller hands as I was getting used to doing the reviews and shooting and things like that.
Yeah, and when this came out, it was kind of ho-hummed by a lot of the media by saying that it's just another Glockish thing, blah blah. But even though you don't have interchangeable backstraps, you don't have optics ready cuts or anything like that, it fit my hands well as well. So Tia was able to shoot it well, I was able to shoot it well, and the trigger on this, flat faced, and you can see it's kind of kicked forward quite a bit, but it comes to a wall, snap, clean break, nice reset that kicks you right back out to that wall for another clean break. It makes it very easy to shoot well. I also like the styling of it. I think it's kind of neat that they went a little modern and a slightly different flair, and quite frankly I wonder why there isn't more fanfare about it.
Because for me, the grip texture on the grip is perfect because it's separated by some of this smooth plastic. So for daily concealment, that's going to be much more comfortable than something that has this all the way through it. I appreciated that. I also appreciated the texturing and all of the other, memory points that you need to have when having a firearm in your hand and getting familiar with it and comfortable with it. And yeah, this was really nice.
Yeah, it really made for a gun that was quick to learn and easy to get proficient with. Mossberg MC2C, definitely a top 5 for us in 2020. And before we go on, I do want to throw in, you're seeing this on the bench instead of on the range because these are all 9mm, and at 68 cents a round, the current going rate, we just can't afford to be out blasting these solely for the sake of talking about them. So we're going to just talk about them. Let's see our next one. Next up, a gun that unfortunately only saw short production, the BB6. This was Wilhelm Bubitz's dream. The guy was reported to have worked with Caracal, with Steyr, with Walther, with Glock, and each place he had some little idea, some of which were incorporated, and you can kind of see reminiscent here, others weren't. Tia, what did you like about this thing?
I liked that it just fits so well in the hand. It's so well balanced. Even though it's square and somewhat rudimentary in the general appearance of it, once you have that in your hand, it just, I don't know. And I remember that this shot so smoothly, was really easy to control. The gutter sight system, peeking back through it now, was really fun to experience and learn.
Yeah, and we don't have that mounted on here currently, but what we're talking about is, and you can see these cuts here, there's another sight, you knock this off and it moves forward and you're looking through a long channel that kind of forces your eye to focus on the front sight post. Very different, took a second to learn, but was rather instinctive. What I appreciate about this thing is just how many things are different. You had the safety on the trigger guard down here that blocks it all. Then you notice it's a closed top to the slide. Well, that's because Although it is a Browning action style, it's an improvement of it. The engagement is actually way back here at the end rather than the front of the barrel hood like it is on most pistols. And that allows them to have a rather straight barrel. So you have less barrel tilt, which does change the way the gun felt when shooting. Makes for a really smooth shooter, really cool gun. I've heard some rumors that Taurus has bought rights to some of it or something like that. I don't know. I have yet to see anything that proves that. But these BB6s, just unique, different, advanced in so many ways, and great shooters.
And next, one of my favorites was the B6C. I enjoyed this one to the point that I considered it for a carry gun, because it has a larger magazine capacity. It's a smaller build. Putting it back in my hand today, I love the weight of it. The front is a little heavy, but once my mag was loaded, I think that weight would balance out. And just the profile of it, I think.
Yeah, it makes for a very affordable option to have hammer fire, which is a preference for many. That of course gives you single action, which is very crisp and nice, and the ability to second strike if need be. A lot of people mock that these days because ammo has gotten so much better, but the truth of the matter is carry gun ammo goes through a lot harder trials and tribulations than your ammo that you freshly pull out of the box when you go to the range. And so sometimes that extra hit is nice to have. It can be carried, cocked and locked, or you can decock it for that double action first shot. Very comfortable gun to shoot, very affordable, and SAR USA is bringing these back, so they are readily available in a number of different configurations.
And I remember the double action on this was not so long that it changed my sight picture, that I was able to pull through and everything stayed there. The recoil wasn't, I wasn't having to fight that to get my sight picture back. I was very impressed with this, and it definitely came to mind when Graham asked me what my top 5 were for 2020.
Yeah, and to expand a little on what she was talking about with the sight picture for double action, is you can see where the trigger is when the hammer's down. There's where the trigger is when the hammer's back. And so a lot of people, especially with smaller hands, struggle with single action, double actions because their reach and the way they hold the gun for this shot is different than for this shot because the trigger's so much further out there. But this one is fairly smooth, and it gives you the length of pull from the tang to the trigger isn't really that bad. It's really a rather compact firearm. Next is kind of a twofer. The Arsenal Strike 1 had amazing fare and lore and was this legendary alien technology, advanced, incredible gun, rumored to be used by Spetsnaz and all that kind of stuff, and then it vanished. And I was really lucky to find this one. Later, through the Norma Ruag giant defense conglomerate, we saw the Archon Type B come out, which is the same design, but in more compact and with all kinds of wild features on it.
What was fun about this is that we reviewed them at the same time, so that's why this one stuck out to me, in getting to compare them directly side by side and have a good deal of fun out shooting, dual wielding if you will, and seeing how the point of impact and the sight radius changed that as we did our testing.
Yeah, it's a really fun video. If you haven't seen it, I suggest looking it up. We did a side-by-side doing ready-ups, doing various different drills to get a feel for does this sight radius and different sight system beat this. The trigger being angular versus round, the grip being different, the texture being different, all these different things, because a lot of people, myself included, saw the Type B as a replacement for the Strike 1, since these are pretty much unobtainable now. And we found that there's still two unique guns, and they each have their advantage and disadvantage. The unique operating system on this makes it a very, very smooth shooter. It's not a Browning action. In fact, as you can see, that barrel stays level. Just a sexy, sexy, cool gun. I wish more models and variants of it would come out. They say that they're going to at some point. Hopefully we'll see those in 2021. But yeah, the Type B and Strike 1, definitely unique firearms and pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And our finale, if you will, a gun that's been out of production for a long time, has lots of unique characteristics to it, is the Walther P5.
Would a GBGuns review be complete without mention of a Walther?
I'm a fan, I admit it. Very neat single action, double action with a unique recoil setup in there. Feels really cool. Of course, it was a Bond gun, and the ejection port's on the other side, which turns out to have a lot of advantages. I don't know why that didn't become the norm and why we eject to the right. But not only do we enjoy this one, Tia here swings by our local small town, middle of nowhere, Oregon pawn shop and found this beauty.
In the box with the original manual.
In the box with the German language manual, the spare mags, all of that. And it's arguably in better condition than the one that I was able to find at the Century Arms surplus corner.
It's what made it unique, and part of my reasons for choosing it is we have two.
This one hasn't been shown on the channel yet. We haven't taken it to the range. Gorgeous piece, really cool, and you know, I was so excited to find the P5 and get it and learn about it and all of that. And you know, I've been told by folks in the industry that to produce one of these today, it would easily be probably a $2,000 gun retail, just because there's so much machining and advancements that goes, to put it shortly, for what it costs to pay humans and run machines these days, making these today would be way too expensive. So then I was sad to know that nothing like this is probably ever going to be seen again. And Tia sends me a text message, "Hey, look what I found."
$200 magazine.
Yeah.
Included.
Yeah, it had been sitting at this pawn shop for quite some time, and price never adjusted, so we got it for a steal. Pretty proud of Tia for that one. So, this concludes our top 5 handguns that we covered in 2020. I'd like to hear opinions from y'all as to which ones were your favorites, both that we reviewed, and what's your favorite gun that you've shot of 2020.
I think that would be good to know.
Yeah, and we've got plenty others. If there are guns we reviewed that didn't make this list, tell us why you think they should have been in this list. But here's to a better 2021, and thanks for watching.